starting off, Michael mentioned inherited proclivities. And again, he started off with the reptilian part of the brain. When our ancestors were reptiles, again, we all know we started with bacteria. We've all had ancestors who were around 3.8 billion years ago, and by golly, not a single one of them died before they reproduced. Isn't that amazing? So when our ancestors were reptiles, this is basically the part of the brain they had. Now, there's some reptiles alive today, crocodiles, for example, that have also continued to evolve with some more stuff on them. Birds have had a tremendously parallel evolution to ours, giving them many of the same capacities we have. But I'm just dealing with our ancestry, our brains, and how we didn't have an intelligent designer God come in here and say, I think it's now time to have humans here on Earth. What would be the perfect brain for humans? Starting from scratch? You know, how you can, as engineering, start from scratch? Well, it's also tinkering, where you start with what you got, and then you build from that. So there are reptilian ancestors. This is the basic life force, safety, sustenance, sex after puberty. The early mammalian, think about it. Reptiles, outside of crocodiles, when they lay their eggs, female lays the eggs, what does she do? She walks away. The exception of a few snakes, okay? She walks away. Does she care about her babies? No. If the male comes back, will he eat the babies? Yes. So what distinguishes mammals is we have mammary glands. Our babies only survive, all mammals only survive if the female will nurse them, continue to be with them after birth. And so you have that emotional bonding beginning to go on that from the basic mother-child bond can extend out farther and farther and farther till today that emotional bonding for many of us extends out to all the people of Earth and all the creatures of Earth. But it all began with that basic mother-infant bonding. Then, as Michael explained, we had the monkey mind, which came on, the rational brain. This is where I spend a lot of my time joyously during the day as a science nerd. But this came on in order to do a great job of figuring things out and planning so that these parts could get what they want. Love, nurturance, emotional bonding, care about where you are in the status hierarchy of social mammals, because where you are will have a great determining factor for your access to food, your access to mates. And then finally, the prefrontal cortex in our human ancestry, this, as Michael mentioned, is the last to mature. I'll talk more about that when I add on new materials. So we started out with the quadroon brain, the 4 parts of our brain. He then talked about mismatch theory, that this part of our brain evolved very well to handle conditions maybe 10, 20, 30,000 years ago. But cultural evolution is just a part of our as much a part of our heritage as biological evolution. And cultural evolution has gone way faster than this can keep up with it. And so that, as he mentioned yesterday, every day we have to counter our basic instincts. I might encounter chocolate in front of me every single day, but does that mean I take of it? No! But did my ancestors have to say no to something like that? No! They got to always say yes. Sexual drive as well, now that we live in committed monogamous relationships or attempt to do so. So this is the mismatch theory. Michael talked about sugars and fats. What we're going to add on, both of us today, working on this program today, we're going to talk about our inherited instincts for what now turns out to be giving us addictions. Substance addictions in particular. He talked a little bit about internet porn yesterday, but we're really going to go into substance addictions. And when Michael and I work with youth, man, do we get a lot of questions about this. They want to know, which part of the brain? Cocaine down here, alcohol starting up here and possibly moving down into here. What does that mean? What does that mean for when you make a decision later on after you've got addicted that you're not going to want to do that anymore? How easy is it? Powerful, powerful parts of our brain. Alcohol will sometimes be used, particularly by the shyer kids in a party, because if you get a little alcohol, male or female, into you, the very first thing it does is it kind of gets rid of those inhibitions, whereas teens were always thinking, what are my peers going to think about me? You know, as children, we don't care. As postmenopausal women, we don't care either. But we do as teens. We are just so concerned about not looking stupid or dorky or wearing the wrong thing. You know, look at these anklets I have on. You would not catch a teenage girl wearing anklets, but thank you very much, they're comfortable. So what happens with alcohol is you stop worrying about that kind of stuff. You become more self-expressed. You become livelier, more playful, willing to not care if you make a little bit of a fool of yourself. You become more attractive to others, more playful to be with. You're willing to dance or ask someone to dance for the first time. So it starts up here. Maybe you become dependent on that for future social interactions, particularly between you and someone that you might have romantic interest in, so there's a high stake in how they view you. After a while, if it reaches down into the lizard legacy, this is where it becomes very difficult to manage.